A drone just cleaned up Mount Everest. Another one is learning to echolocate like a bat. And the Canadian women's Olympic soccer team just got caught spying using a drone. In broad daylight. You'd think you know what drones are for, but you don't. At least, not yet. Welcome to the Drone Network, the only show in the air and on the airwaves. I am your host, Bryce Bladon. On this show, we document the tech, economics, and people piloting the world's largest standardized drone imagery network. Each episode, we explore how drones are reshaping industries, creating new economic opportunities, and literally changing how we see the world. On today's episode, we examine the weirdest applications of drone technology ever seen, going deep on some of the most genuinely strange, surprising, and maybe kind of beautiful things happening in drones right now. 3 stories, all real. Let's go. Let's start with a question. You need to design a drone that can fly through a burning building. It's total darkness, it's filled with smoke. What sensor do you give it? Camera's pretty useless. Thermal imaging gets confused. GPS doesn't work indoors. Team of researchers at the Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts, I probably said 4 of those words wrong, asked the same question. And their answer was, make it like a bat. Echolocation. Ultrasonic sound pulses that bounce off of obstacles and paint a picture of the environment through the return signal. That's not even the wild part. The wild part is the sensor they used. It's the same ultrasonic sensor found in, if you can guess it, okay, automatic faucets, the kind that turn on, or in my experience, don't always turn on, when you put your hands under them. They're basically taking a bathroom fixture, attaching it to a drone, and using physics-informed machine learning to teach it how to navigate. That drone is called the PeAR. PeAR. E is lowercase. It was built by Professor Nitin Sankat and his team. It was funded by over $700,000 from the National Science Foundation grant, and it detects obstacles as close as 5 centimeters with a 120-degree field of view using a whopping 0.6 milliwatts of power per sensor. Put that in context, USB camera uses about 1,000 times that. This thing is navigating in complete darkness on the energy equivalent of a small LED. The team calls it parsimonious AI. It's to solve the problem with the least computational overhead possible. I'm going to double check that I'm saying that word right because I really like that concept.
Parsimonious.
Anyways, what they set out to do is not to build the most powerful system, it's to build the most elegant one. Model animal brains instead of human ones. Nice little dig at humans there. They're also thinking about the next version of this drone, an event camera inspired by hummingbirds and ultrasonic sensors that can detect breath signatures and gunshots. Not just for search and rescue, say, but for anti-poaching and other operations in the wild. So, a drone that listens like a bat, finds people in burning buildings. That's pretty wonderful. Let's talk about something weird. In November 2024, somewhere over rural New Jersey, someone looks up at the night sky, and they see something. It's big, it's hovering, it has lights, and it is definitely, according to multiple eyewitnesses, definitely a drone the size of a car. So this person posted online, and within days, thousands of people across New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania are reporting the same thing. Massive drones, flying in formation, silently, at night, near military bases, near power plants, near nuclear facilities. For the record, if this isn't clear to you, these are not places you should be able to fly your drone. And in my very limited experience, if you tried, it would be stopped almost immediately. That's one of the things the FAA can do when you try to fly a drone. That is a no-fly zone. But I digress. The FBI got involved. The FAA issued flight restrictions. See what I was talking about? Senators held press conferences. Congressman Jeff Van Drew went on television, and he says, and again, not making this up,
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones. It's everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly.
Obviously, the internet loses its mind. People are now camping out in fields with night vision cameras. Local news is doing breathless live coverage. There's genuine national anxiety. Here's what the joint investigation by the Department of Defense, the FBI, the FAA, and the Department of Homeland Security found. Most of the drones were just authorized drones, flying legally, just drones. Some of them were misidentified manned aircraft. Planes. Normal planes. And some of them, investigators concluded with high confidence, were the constellation Orion and the planet Venus. Stars, to be clear. People were calling the FBI about stars. Now, to be fair, there were some real unauthorized drone incursions over military bases during that period. That's confirmed. That's genuinely concerning. But the mass civilian sightings, that's a bigger question. Neurologist William Bernstein called it a case of mass delusion. Sociologist Robert Bartholomew compared it to a wave of panic during World War I when New Jersey residents thought German spies were signaling with lights offshore. Not really sure why New Jersey is always at the center of these things. But it turns out the human brain is extremely good at finding patterns and threats when it's been primed to look for them. And if you haven't noticed this about the internet, it's really, really good at priming you for this stuff. So what the story actually reveals isn't a security threat, it's how much psychological weight drones can carry. They're new enough to still feel foreign, they're capable enough to feel threatening, and they're invisible enough, particularly at night, to become whatever your imagination needs them to be. To me, the drone panic of 2024 says more about us, or rather your average citizen, than I think it does about drones. We've talked about the weird, we've talked about something vaguely wonderful. Let me maybe leave you with something that is actually good. Let's take you to a little place I like to call Kosovo, because that's what it's called. A small country in the Balkans that has been dealing with catastrophic deforestation for decades, the result of logging, of wildfires, and economic pressure on rural communities. The forests that remained here were often in terrain so rugged that traditional reforestation methods simply couldn't reach them. You're not going to get Johnny Appleseed up there. In 2024, they started using drones to plant trees. Not metaphorically. To be clear, Kosovo literally had drones equipped with biodegradable seed pods. They were flying over hillsides that no planting crew could access, and they were dropping about 10,000 seed pods per day per drone. These pods are designed to protect the seed during impact. They biodegrade into the soil. The drones use mapping data to drop with precision. They target gaps in existing canopy, soil types most likely to support germination, and elevations where rainfall patterns favor survival. And early germination results are described as promising, which, given the scale, again, thousands of trees planted per day in terrain previously written off as impossible to restore, that's a genuinely big deal. And it's also not an isolated project. Similar programs are running in Australia. They're targeting invasive aquatic weeds. In Scotland, drones are mapping peatland degradation in the islands to guide restoration efforts. And in Haiti, they're delivering humanitarian aid to communities cut off after natural disasters. Again, the thread across all of it. Drones are going to places and scales that used to be off limits. Literally off limits. We could not access them as people using our human bodies. And again, it's not because the technology is magic. It's because it turns out flying is a really good solution to a lot of the problems of terrain, access, and time. So, 3 stories for you. A bat drone navigating burning buildings using its faucet sensors. An entire country panicked because there are stars out at night. And 10,000 trees planted in a single day in a place where trees weren't able to be planted before. That's the weird, that's the wonderful. It's not one thing. It's not just inspiring stuff or absurd stuff. But with new technology, whether it's being used for good or ill, honestly, I think the weird and the wonderful and sometimes the bad are all constantly running in parallel. Because that's just what happens when a technology is figuring itself out. I've been Bryce Bladon. This is the Drone Network. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for being a part of the Drone Network. Subscribe wherever fine podcasts are served to get a new episode every week. And remember to leave us a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. It helps a lot. Today's show was sponsored by Spexy Geospatial and Lair Drone. Learn more about standardized drone imagery built for global scale at spexy.com. That's SPEXI.com and lairdrone.org. Thanks again for listening.